All right, hello everyone, it's Silver Kyle. Happy New Year to you all. We are already more than a week into 2021. I'm a little bit late, obviously, with my first video of the year. It happens. I'm hoping that from now on, I'll kind of be a little bit more back on track with doing videos. I would love to do 3 videos a week. Guaranteed that's not going to happen throughout the entire year, but that's the goal. It's always good to have goals, and I'm going to try to strive to get to them. Speaking of goals, that's the whole point of this video as well. We're going to try to look at everything that I want to complete in the next 3 months of 2021, January, February, and March. Will I complete it? Probably not. Considering last quarter, which was October, November, December, I had a list of things I wanted to complete. I didn't complete one thing. I started a few things, but I didn't complete anything. So I transitioned a few of those things and put them into this, into this of what I want to complete in the next little while. A few new things as well. We'll see how things go. So let's get this show on the road with Green Lantern, Volume 2 Omnibus by Jeff Johns. I absolutely love the first omnibus. I have started this. I wouldn't say that it started off with a big bang as the first omnibus did, which I also want to do a review of. I really want to review all the omnibus that I do end up reading, because it's just something that I really enjoy. And then it might, get a few of you to be a little bit more interested in potentially reading some of this stuff. But if you're into comic books or you like comic book movies, and if you've seen the Green Lantern movie, do not count that at all. This is not at all what these comic books represent in terms of how much enjoyment you can get out of them. This is some of the best comic books I've ever read. If you're interested in comic books, I strongly recommend, and you want to get into maybe the omnibus route, I strongly recommend looking at the Green Lantern omnibus. I cannot get enough of these. Jeff Johns is an amazing writer, and I've never read Green Lantern before his runs. And he's gotten me completely into that character 100%. And the lore and the world, because it's in space, so there's so much that they can do with that. Next up is what this is eventually leading into is the Blackest Night omnibus. I think that the Blackest Night is actually included. Yeah, Blackest Night, the actual run, is included in Volume 2. But this includes the entire spectrum of everything that's going on in all the extras, like where in all the other comics. So all the tie-ins, everything like that is included in this. I think this is something like 1,500 pages. It is absolutely massive. I don't remember how many pages this one is. I think it's maybe 1,000 to maybe 1,100. Do I have a page count on this? I mean, DC rarely ever does that. So I'm not really expecting. I doubt that they have something at the introduction. Yeah, no, they just dive into it, don't they? They just dive into it. So I don't really remember offhand, but I know that this is just one of the biggest omnibus that I personally have. So there you have it. That's comic book wise, omnibus wise, sorry, that I'm going to be reading. I do have some other comic books I'm going to be reading as well. Let's look into the video games that I'm going to be trying to beat. Story of Seasons. I absolutely love this game. I haven't played it in the last little while, though, and I really got to get back into this because I really do enjoy it. I want to beat it, which is, to me, playing the first 3 years, and I think it's a little bit different because now you don't necessarily have a timeline anymore like you did in Back to Nature and Friends from Old Town on the Game Boy Advance. You don't have a timeline anymore, which was 3 years to get everything, but I want to have all the upgrades to the house. I want to get married, have a kid, have all, like, pretty much all the upgrades for the buildings, and have all the animals. Yeah, so there's a lot of things that I want to accomplish before I stop playing this game and move on to something else. Next up is Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. Still haven't tried this yet. I know, I'm crazy. I've been looking forward to this game as soon as it was announced. I was going to say all year, but we only had like a month or two before it was released. But I'm very much wanting to get into this. I really enjoyed the first one, and I love Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is my first or second favorite game of all time. So I need to get into this. And the last video game that I want to be trying to beat for my backlog is New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, which I have beat on the Wii U, but I want to beat it on the Switch as well. The only thing that I want to watch apparently is True Detective Season 2. I loved True Detective Season 1. That is one of, if not the best seasons of any TV show that I've ever seen. Well, probably Dexter. and some Seinfeld seasons beat it. But other than that, I love the first season. And season 2 is a completely different cast, completely different story. I've heard mediocre things that like this completely drops off the quality that we had in the first season, but I still want to check it out and see how it does. Next up is things that I've read before, but I really want to get back into them or reread them. I have read maybe the first 100 pages of The Goblet of Fire, and then I want to move on to The Order of Phoenix. I would include books 6 and 7 as well, but I don't think that I'll probably... I do not see myself completing these two and moving on to the next one after that in the next little while. I feel like we've got a little bit too much, and I don't know, this table is not the greatest. X-Men, Children of the Atom. This is the Epic Collection, Volume 1, which includes 1963 to 1966. I think it's like the first 23 issues of the first ever X-Men series with Stan Lee, is it? And Kirby? And Thomas and Roth as well. Because I want to read the first 66 issues of the X-Men run before getting into Uncanny X-Men, the omnibus, which I have the first one, and I think the second one is now in print. The third, or reprinted. Third one's coming out as a reprint, and we're getting the fourth one finally as well later on this year, I believe in March. So I really want to dive into all of that. We're just going to switch places with this. Next up, I also want to read Crisis on Infinite Earths. This is the 35th anniversary deluxe edition, so it is oversized. It's a hardcover, just like an omnibus, but it's not as thick, not nearly as thick, because it's just a deluxe edition, which I'm fine with, because I think that this includes the entire series. It might have some tie-ins as well, but I'm not 100% certain on that. And to me, this is kind of like the reboot of where I would like to start reading DC. I could also maybe start with New 52 and kind of go from there, but I would eventually want to go back to this point. And there's nothing really before that. Maybe some of the Bronze Age stuff that I would read, but there's not really anything from the Golden Age that I really want to read, other than maybe Batman, and same thing with the Silver Age. And Silver Age might be a little bit even too campy for me, even with Batman. So this, for me, DC might just be starting with Crisis on Infinite Earths, which I do want to read. And last but not least, the last thing, hopefully this is the right one. Yeah. Attack on Titan Volume 3 of the Colossal Edition. I loved the first two. And once I started reading them, I just couldn't stop. So once I start this one, I'm hoping that it's going to be the same thing, that I just absolutely love it and cannot get enough of this, because I want to finish Attack on Titan. And then what I think my next manga is going to be, I'm thinking Berserk. Probably Berserk. I could also do, you can kind of see it in the corner, I believe Full Metal Alchemist. I have the entire run of that in the actual small manga books that they have. I think the full 27 volumes. And but we'll see. We'll see. But I need to get through Attack on Titan first. So that's everything that I want to complete in the next 2 months. Let me know in the comments below what you're going to be attacking from your backlog, and you've been bearded in. Beardage.